Hi everyone, it's Mary, and I'm going to be talking about the Battle of Red Bank in New Jersey today. And Red Bank Battlefield is located in National Park in southern New Jersey. It is directly across the Delaware River from Philadelphia. So, just some background about the whole battlefield in itself. In 1748, a Quaker family, the Whitalls, established a 400-acre plantation at Red Bank along the river. And in 1777, the American Revolution was in full swing by then, and it really interrupted their life at Red Bank when some American forces came and constructed a fort called Fort Mercer just immediately north of the house. You can walk to the remains of the fort today from the Whitall house. It's very, very close. So, as far as the battle goes, in the fall of 1777, October to be exact, the British were in serious need of food and supplies. They were stationed in Philadelphia at the time, and all of their ships were moored further north in Pennsylvania around the Chester area. But the only issue was that the American forces controlled the river. So the British got to the point where they were put on half rations. They really needed food and supplies. So they needed to move further south down the river in order to get those supplies. Now, the Americans had submerged several huge barriers of timbers, and they put spikes on the tops of these timbers that would stick out and poke any ships that would be coming down the river. So it was very difficult for these ships because their hulls would just be ripped apart. So, and the largest of these barriers was at Fort Mercer at Red Bank. So this fort had just been newly built. It wasn't yet completed. However, it was still ready for an attack, and the Americans, they fully expected an attack to be coming soon. So, Colonel Christopher Green, the American who was in charge, he and his regiment of men from Rhode Island, they were in this fort, and on October 22nd of 1777, a force of about 2,000 Hessian soldiers who fought for the British at this time attacked Fort Mercer, and only 400 Americans defended the fort and the river. But unknown to the Hessians, Colonel Green had built this dummy wall outside of the fort, and he and his men were inside the fort. So they were within the real fort, and they shot down from this really high parapet down on the advancing Hessian troops. So in terrible battle, within 45 minutes, 400 Hessian soldiers as well as their commander were killed, but only 14 Americans were lost. And during this time, while the land battle was going on, American ships along the Delaware River came after they had heard about this battle that was taking place, and they fired upon the British ships. So here as well, the British sustained very heavy losses. They lost a battleship which ran aground and then burned up, and then they lost another large 18-gun ship. So as far as the aftermath of this battle goes, it was kind of a role reversal for the British because they were used to being the ones so far in the war who came out on top and was winning. But they still didn't give up. They continued the bombardment at Fort Mercer all night long, and they eventually caused Colonel Green and the Americans to retreat. So they left and moved to Pennsylvania, but before they left, they burned the entire fort to the ground. Now all you can see are just cannons, which they had placed there later on for field trips and all that. But despite the loss of the fort, some historians say or suggest that the French came to aid the American side because of the somewhat win at the Red Bank, but the Battle of Saratoga was also that week, which the Americans won, so it was kind of a big thing. That whole week was big for the Americans. But at Red Bank today, you can see the Whitall House, which the couple turned into a hospital to help tend the wounded. And inside the house are all sorts of relics and mementos of the battle, like cannonballs, and you can see the spikes that were placed on the timbers. So everything is very, very interesting. And field trips, they really work with children. There are things for adults there too. They found part of a cannon that they believed had blown up. So during this time when archaeologists were there, there was a couple field trips there, and the students were able to watch these archaeologists dig up this cannon that they believed had exploded during the battle. So it was really interesting. And these during field trips, they teach everyone how clothing was made, how people cooked in the 1700s, what was it like to be a soldier. So they're just things to do for everyone, for children and for adults as well. So thank you.